Hillary in 2016 making her comment about, basket of deplorables, which I wish she had not said at the time, and I think she wishes she hadn't said at the time. Turns out she was dead on.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Liberal Expression. This week, media bias took a strange bend as they started eating their own, which was actually kind of fun. Morning Joe this week dreamed up their Democratic doomsday scenario, where the Democrat that they like didn't get the nomination.
There are a lot of Democrats who fear that Biden's going to collapse, Warren's going to win, and then they're going to have a matchup where Elizabeth Warren gets blown away in states like Texas and states like Wisconsin.
Oh no, they're worried that the liberal that they want won't win the Democratic nomination. But don't expect them to think that's because people might actually support Republican ideas. It might be because there's too much socialism with the Democratic candidates.
Talking about decriminalizing illegal immigration, talking about giving health care plans to illegal immigrants, talking about forgiving basically all debt, medical debt, student debt, $22 trillion in debt as a nation. For a lot of Americans, this just doesn't add up.
Yeah, and that's why you've seen Joe Biden remain where he is, because he hasn't gone into that territory.
I'm sensing that they support a certain candidate here. But my senses are not as powerful as CBS News Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto. He gazes into his crystal ball and predicts the precise delegate counts months before the actual Democratic primary.
But what does this mean for Joe Biden?
Well, there's still some good news here. He's still up in our delegate count, and here's what that means. I know it sounds like it's a far-off thing. There's the Democratic convention next summer, but ultimately this campaign is a fight for delegates, and delegates are handed out to top finishers in all of these states, really any candidate that gets above 15%. Well, by the time you get through all of those states, Joe Biden is doing well enough. He's racking up a lot of delegates, a lot of votes in places like South Carolina.
But it wasn't South Carolina, it was North Carolina where the leftist media was focused this week as a special election was being held. CBS Evening News took the opportunity to smear all Republicans in what was to be a bellwether vote for Trump and the nation.
A new update on that House race tonight in North Carolina. It's getting a lot of national attention as a possible preview for 2020. Polls say it is neck and neck in a district that President Trump won by 12 points in 2016. Dean Reynolds reports from North Carolina's 9th CD.
The big question in the special election here today is whether the Republicans can hold on to this traditionally Republican seat without cheating.
And then the Republican won, and there was no cheating, and the bellwether importance of the vote, well, that kind of...
Even though, look, on election night 2020, we will not likely be talking about NC9.
Yeah, they don't really want to talk about that vote anymore. Instead, they want to talk about how unhappy they were with the Supreme Court decision that was a victory for the Trump administration this week.
They reverse around 4 decades of U.S. policy, as well as the spirit of America's opening to refugees.
Look, we talk about this, the legal implications here. This is a huge policy change. This will affect tens of thousands of people. This will fundamentally, you talk about a wall will do nothing compared to what this change will do legally. It means tens of thousands of people who've been coming to the border seeking asylum will not be allowed in the United States. Now, you can argue whether that's good or bad, but this is a huge shift that will take place immediately.
Yeah, and it's designed to really stop the caravans that he's been, fear-mongering about.
You wouldn't want to stop those large caravans from flooding our border, but yay, all these victories for Trump are just too much for the leftist media, who after Thursday's rather pathetic presidential debate, well, they simply can't understand how their band of socialists aren't wooing Trump supporters away. There must be a reason. Oh, wait. Racism.
What do you say about the folks who are cheering him on?
Well, no, it's a great point. And, in addition to Hillary in 2016 making her comment about, basket of deplorables, which I wish she had not said at the time, and I think she wishes she hadn't said at the time. Turns out she was dead on. For Donald Trump's supporters to turn on him or even put some space on him, they have to acknowledge that what they don't like in him, that they have to see it in themselves. So it's very different when someone says, oh, I don't really like the president because he made this policy decision, as opposed to, oh, I don't like this president because I voted for him, he's a racist, and it turns out he's a racist, and he keeps saying racist things. I wonder if I'm a racist. That is a really big problem.
So there you have it. If the Democrats don't win, it can't be because people dislike their policies. It has to be racism. Because if there's one thing that the leftist media learned from the Democratic debates on Thursday, is that those candidates offer really real authenticity.
I have to say, I loved the ending. I loved the
I did
ending.
too. Was fantastic.
It was inspirational.
Yeah.
You saw it was different. You saw real authenticity, I think, from most of the candidates.
That's all the time we have. I'm Eric Scheiner for MRC-TV. Check out mrctv.org, like and share our videos, and we'll return with some more media wackiness next week.